My teaching in Kent at the beginning consisted of going round to a number of secondary modern schools and teaching groups of brass. I did 7 years of that. It was a very tough job, going to every corner of this big county every week. And then there was a vacancy for director, West Kent director of Kent Music School, with a music centre in Tunbridge, and I took that and eventually became director of Kent Music School itself. And I always liked to have open house, and when the secretary rang me to say there's somebody wants to talk to you who comes from Australia, I said, send him in and bring a cup of tea, please. So he came in and we had a very long chat. He had done his national service as part of the British occupation forces in Germany, where the one big rule was no fraternisation. Well, he was one of those who broke the rule and came away with a very charming German girl, married her, and went off to Australia. And now he was back in this country for a short trip to see his parents. And he walked past this building saying Kent Music School, and stopped, turned back, and thought, well, just see what this is all about. And we got on very well. He was a very easy person to talk to. And he made the fatal, he voiced the fatal sentiments. If you're ever in Australia, do come and see us. Love to have you. It so happened that I was thinking about this, and we had got enough to live on. We'd got a house that we weren't having to pay an exorbitant mortgage on, and I'd always wanted to go to Australia, probably because my father's first trip in sail as an apprentice was out to Australia. So we flew out, and I bought a tent and a motorbike. It wasn't a very good motorbike, but it was a long wheelbase, longer than usual, which for touring purposes was a great help. And we started, I suppose, at Sydney and worked our way around. When we got to Melbourne, I'd already contacted him, and he said, always come and stay while you're in Melbourne. Don't sleep in a tent, come and stay with us. So we had about a fortnight, 3 weeks, staying with them, which was very good of them. And they took us round to see the sights. And I did a sort of the same sort of thing as he did, one or two places, and got in touch with people in music in Australia. And after that I had, in order to do this trip, I had resigned as director of Kent Music School, and we were out there for a few months, really took our time over everything. And when I came back, I'd got a bit of teaching, freelance teaching, and started practicing very seriously and offered myself to freelancing in London. And my name was obviously still known from when I was in the Philharmonia, and so I did a little bit with the London Symphony Orchestra, a bit with the Philharmonia itself. And for about 5 years I didn't earn a lot, but I was very satisfied to be in the London orchestras again. One surprising event was when I had a very rare engagement with the Royal Philharmonic. It just happened I'd never played much with them. But they had got a tour of Germany, 9 days, and they had covered, they'd got a set quartet of horn players. They needed a bumper up, especially as the main symphony on this tour was Bruckner's Number 4. And the first horn has so much to do that he needs a bumper up sitting next to him playing the loud passages so that he can get on with the solo work. So they had 6 days to cover. They rang me and I said, yes, that's all right. So I joined them, they were already on the tour. But an extra element of this was that Neil, at the age of 16 or 17, was at a school in Austria for the year. And so I contacted him and said, well, look, would you be able to come over and join us for a day or two? So he got permission from the headmaster, and he came over and joined us at Munich. Now at Munich we had a different program altogether. And the same conductor right through, Rudolf Kempe, one of those that I admired. And Neil and I arrived at the concert hall for a 3 o'clock rehearsal in the afternoon. We'd been picked up by coaches from the hotel, and I got my horn out and did just a little bit of warming up, and then I noticed that the pianist Badura Skoda was playing Brahms' second piano concerto, just practicing. So obviously I wouldn't be needed, so I put the horn back in the case. Neil said, shall I go and find a nice restaurant to go for a meal after the rehearsal? I said, yes, okay. So he missed what happened next. I realised there was only one horn up on the stage, looking very lonely. So I got the horn out of its case and walked up onto the platform, and barely got there when Kempe gave the first beat for the concerto, which consists of the first horn and nobody else, pure solo, 2 bars, then the piano plays a lot of fiddly work, and then the horn plays solo again after that. One of the best known horn solos, which I'd never played, of course. And then I remembered that there was a solo part for the 3rd horn, so I went behind me and got the 3rd horn part out, played this little solo. And we got through to the end of the first movement, and I could hear footsteps, heavy footsteps coming along backstage. And Rudolf Kempe said, "Are you playing this evening?" I said, "No, thank you," and walked off and left to go. And the next day, the first horn said, "You made it very difficult for me yesterday." I thought, well, you made it pretty difficult for me too.